Hello, I'm Tom Harmer, your town manager. Thank you for this edition of Talk to the Town. You're going to see a lot of activity around me today. I'm on site of the St. Regis project here on Longboat Key, and a lot of the residents here know it as the Colony site. And so if you go back a number of years, this is really a historic site on the town. It was an internationally known tennis complex and tennis center, and it also is where President Bush stayed 9/11 when the attacks occurred, and he was in Sarasota reading at one of the elementary schools. And so a lot of history here, but over the past 10 years it's kind of evolved, and so now it's going to be the future home of a St. Regis hotel and the St. Regis residences, and it's well under construction. The Town Commission originally approved the plan for this in 2018. The site was demolished and prepared, and then in 2021 they came back with revised plans, and then in October of this past year they had their groundbreaking. And ever since then, it's been kind of full steam ahead with the construction project. Joining me today is Stan Dinwoodie. He is the town's building official, and we'll talk a little bit about the status of the project and what to expect. Hey Stan, how are you?
Hey Tom, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Good. Thanks for being here.
A lot of activity going on.
Lots going on here. Lots going on.
Yeah. So I know you've been extremely busy with this project for years now.
Well, since I got here in 2018, and it's evolved, like you said. Here we are at the construction now in 2022, and you can see we've already started going vertical. So it's evolved over the years, yes. So who in the town helps you review the plans for this before they even start construction, so they receive their necessary permits? Well, in this particular case, they did a third-party review on the plans and the construction plans. On the planning side, Micah Arnold and Alan Parsons, Isaac Brauman and his team in Public Works. They all contributed greatly to this. The only part we really had to do was do the flood elevation certifications. So it evolved. It has taken time. We did a preliminary review from the beginning. We got final plans here in the beginning of this year, and now here we are with construction plans and going vertical.
And so I know one of the first permits you issued really was some site work, but then the foundation permits to allow them to proceed.
Yes, this is a pedestal foundation. It's very, very large. It's very, very complicated. So we issued them a foundation permit to start with that. And we are on that stage right now. They've got half the hotel. Looks like building number 3 and number 2 are underway. Some of the vaults are under construction. So they have permits to go vertical now on the next 5 stories. So I would imagine in the next 2 or 3 months you're going to see a lot more construction going on out here. A lot more.
Yeah. And so the pilings that they put in to support the instructors and the structures were pretty significant. How many pilings does it take to support this kind of project?
Well, there were 2,700 pilings that are 40 feet deep, excuse me, and there's another 52 pilings just for the swimming pools. So that's 2,752 pilings that they put in, and they managed to put them in about two plus months. They had 2 rigs out here. I'm sure people have seen them, but both those rigs are now gone, so the pilings are all in. Now they're covering them up with grade beams and pile caps. So.
Okay, so you don't even see that, but it goes 40 feet down into the ground.
Right. Yeah.
And that was kind of like some of the early work.
Very early on. That was part of the foundation. The pilings actually go through and support the first floor, which is the top of the pedestal foundation.
And so we know there's the hotel on the property, which is over here off to my right, and then the residential buildings over here behind you that make up the overall project. And as I recall, there's 166 hotel rooms, I think 67 residences that'll be built.
It's either 66, 67 residences right now. They're all fairly large. They're 3,500 plus square feet, 5 stories. That's a lot of building.
So, and the total approved project is 5 stories above the parking deck.
5 stories above base flood elevation, and that's I believe it's 75 feet, and they have an exception to go, I believe, another 10 for the amenities that are on the roof.
Okay, so right now you mentioned they have their building permit for the buildings.
Right.
How far can they go with that permit? Is there any
all the way to
permit?
the end?
Okay.
Until the finish. Those are the building permits they need to finish. Doesn't include the swimming pools or any out structures, but it does include all the buildings.
Okay, so for some of what I would call amenity packages like the pools, they'll get additional permits for that.
Yes, they will.
But they have the permits to go complete with the buildings
completely
themselves.
All the way to the very end. The swimming pools, each one of them, there's 5 of them outside the structure. There'll be 5 more permits at least for those. There may be some other outside amenity buildings that they'll have to get permits for. But Those will be down the road.
So a lot of employees to build a structure like this. So how many employees are on site?
Well, right now they tell me it's somewhere around 250 employees right out here. You look out there, we practically can't tell, but there's about 250 employees. They're all parked here on the site right now. Coming further down, there's probably up to about 800 employees will be out here as the thing moves on. So they'll be parking here around as many as they can here on site. They've also contracted to do parking in St. Elmer's parking garage on a month basis. So they have a parking plan. They have a well thought out parking plan for this whole site. They know they can't park on the Gulf of Mexico Drive. They know what will happen if they do. Yeah. So they have a really good team of people here managing this project.
And I know we get in the town updates regularly, I think even weekly, and then they communicate with their adjacent property owners.
Every week we get a form letter, if you want to call it, but it's a description of what went on the previous week, what is anticipated to be the next week, and they've been right on target every single time. So they've been great to work with. So it's a pleasure to come out here and talk to them.
So I know Unicorp is the developer, and the contractor, the prime contractor is Moss.
Moss Contracting, I believe they're out of Orlando, or that area. They're a very large contractor. This is what they do. This is their forte, so to speak. And the proof is in the pudding. You can see it out here as it's moving along. From a construction person's standpoint, the site is clean. The dust is kept down as best they can. They do it every single day, I believe. They try to do their best to keep the neighbors happy, and we've not had any complaints. So that's really a true testament to the contractor.
Yeah, especially for a project like this, and even in this early stage with the amount of concrete they've had to pour for the pilings, but also for the structure. I've heard numbers like 75,000 cubic yards of concrete when they're done.
Yes, that's what I've heard too.
And so a tremendous amount of concrete, and it does mean trucks going back and forth.
Yep.
Haven't received complaints about that, but it's a necessary part of building a structure, especially on a bare island.
Yeah.
When there's storm hardening requirements.
Yes, they're doing a great job. Like I say, we've been here for the last 20 minutes. We've probably seen 15 trucks coming in here, concrete trucks, and really haven't noticed any problem at all. So they've been doing what they're supposed to do.
And I know when we met with Moss early on, and they talked about their plan for when they have peak employees, when you talk about 600, 800 employees, and they're going to be shuttling them and staging them in Sarasota to try and minimize the impact out here. And then, we had questions about how are you going to feed 800 people all at one time, and they've said they have a feeding plan in place.
Well, that was part of the construction plans that they had to submit. That was part of the approval, and they had to tell us what they were going to do, where they were going to park them, where they're going to feed them, because 800 people on this island, it'll overwhelm all the facilities out here. But they have a plan, and if it goes like they did in the beginning, I'm sure the plan's going to be just excellent, because that's what it's been so far.
Well, I know I've heard the developer talk about the ribbon cutting for the hotel, and he's actually picked a date.
Yes.
2024. And
yes, I've heard that too.
Yeah, so a lot of work has to occur between now and then.
Well, the plan is that the towers or the residences will probably be done about 6 months prior to the hotel. Obviously, the hotel's got a lot of amenities in it that all have to be done. The residences are residences, so they want to get those in so the people can do whatever they want inside, decorating, whatever. So the plan is to get those done first, and they'll be about 6 months later. The hotel's supposed to be done, but the whole project, as scheduled, is 36 months. And I don't see them not doing it. I see them doing it at the rate they're going.
Yeah, they're making really good progress. And you made a good point. The individual condos, the 60-some units, those all have individual owners that will customize the interior of their condos, and so there'll be like 60-some separate projects occurring in the build-out of those internally, where the hotel is really just one owner and one project.
We'll issue into what we call interior completion permits for the condos, so that we can CO the condos, and we'll issue a CO for the hotel. We'll also issue a CO for the towers as a common, so that we can do it down the road, whatever happens. So,
and you mentioned some of the people that have been involved. I know I talked earlier today with Jane, our fire marshal.
Jane's been heavily involved in this. Jane's been heavily involved on the fire side. She's part of our team, as you know. But we've all kind of come together and worked together as a big team, and that's what we always do. We try to do that.
And it's a significant project. When you drive by, it looks big, but when you're actually walking the site, it looks much bigger.
It'll look a lot bigger if we got a lot closer.
Yes, and if you take 17 plus acres on the Gulf of Mexico, It's clearly a special property.
Yeah, it is.
And this will be a pretty darn significant project for the town.
It'll actually be very, very, very well done. I expect nothing less. Got a good contractor. The developer wants to get this completed and make it a 5-star, and I'm sure it's going to be, without a question.
Anything do you want to share with our residents as we wrap up today?
No, but keep going by. If you see a problem, call us. Let us know. Like I said, we have really good communication with the contractor here. We haven't had any issues, but if they find out something or something's bothering, call us. We will be more than happy to explain it. So,
okay, well, very good.
Thank you.
If you think over the next 24 to 30 months you'll see this come up and ultimately be finished, and we'll end up with some ribbon cuttings on the island to celebrate the project. It'll be a nice addition and a nice evolution of the colony, and now to the St. Regis Hotel and the St. Regis residents. So thank you for joining Stan and I today for this edition of Talk of the Town.